To finish up, we're going to look at a graphing word problem. This one is about the blood pressure of an adult patient. We have a function, P of t equals 24 cosine of 3 pi t plus 120. So our first task is to graph this function. I am going to get rid of my tangent graph from the last problem, so I'll take this in. 24 cosine of 3 pi x plus 120. I'm actually not going to graph it yet, but I am going to at least set up my window. So 0 to 2, my scale, I'm going to use that 1 for that. And we are graphing from 90 to 150. We have a break, which we can't do. And actually, I don't know I'm graphing to 150. So for now, I'm going to guess 200. That's a little bit ahead of myself. So I have a window set up. I'm going to try to graph it by hand because it's cosine and not tangent first, and then we can see what happens. Remember, tangent, we kind of want to use the graph a little more. So midline, I'm going to start from. So I need a midline at 120. I need this graph to go up to 144 and down to 96. So that's going to start to help me here. So 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150. That looks pretty good. So I got 150 up here. I'll show 100. I don't need to label all the numbers. So that's going to blend in there. Period-wise, my next thing. So I have 2 pi divided by b, so 2 pi divided by 3 pi. So my period is 2/3, which is a little weird. But I looked at the way they gave me my scale, is that this could be 1/3 and 2/3. So if this is 2/3, these are my quarter points. So cosine starts up at the maximum, and I'm ready to graph now. So I'm starting at 144, which is, if this is 150, right, I am going to be starting about here. My midline is at 120. So the next quarter for cosine, I go midline, and then I go to the bottom, which is 96, which is here, and then I go back to the midline, and then I go back up to the top. So here is 1 period, and we need to graph it all the way out to 2. So if I do the next period, I would end up here. So this is the black one, so we go midline, negative, or 96, midline 144, and the next period, midline 96, midline 144. So I don't, obviously, I'm on a test, I'm not doing these in different colors, but this is just helping you see the individual periods in the graph. So there's my graph. Now I'm going to answer some of the questions. I've already found the period up here, right? So that's 2/3. So what does this mean in the context of the problem? So first off, we need a measurement for it. Period is a time length, right? So this is 2/3 of a second. And this is for something to repeat. So this is for the blood pressure cycle to repeat. So I can be a little more precise about that if I know more about blood pressure, but sometimes you don't know things about the context and you just have to kind of do your best to describe it. So that's like your systolic, diastolic blood pressure, if you've heard of those words, but I'm not going to get too much into that. Next question says, normal resting blood pressure for adults is 120/80. So the highest it goes is 120, the lowest it goes is 80. This means that the blood pressure oscillates between those two numbers. Adults with a high blood pressure have above 140/90. Adults with low blood pressure have below 90/60. They could be at risk for health disorders. Classify this given patient's blood pressure, so as low, normal, or high. So the max here is 144, and the min is 96. So we would say high, and when it says explain, I have to write a little sentence because there blood pressure is 144/96. And I think that's clear enough to kind of explain how you know it's over those two numbers.